All right, guys. Day 2 of this. So you guys know, a lot of you guys asked what car. Oh, a lot of you guys asked what car I got. I'm not gonna tell you. Keep it a surprise. But I spent too much money on it, my whole life savings. So I love it though. Some of you guys guessed it. Some of you guys guessed it. But that's not the point of this. So I'm gonna go get Isaiah and Austin, and I figured I would film for you guys on the way there. It seems like you guys are really fond of this new format. I love it. Actually, I think it's a lot of fun. And there's just so many thoughts, like random thoughts that I kind of have on the way to the gym. So it tends to be like pretty valuable for me to film this stuff and make sure that, you know, I kind of get that stuff out there. I obviously took a page from Sam Sulek's book. I've been saying that. I'm not trying to hide that. I think what he did is pretty inspirational, you know, just like posting every day the way he did it and doing it in like a fairly, not low quality. I mean, he had good audio, which I feel like is really important, but he just was consistent with it and posted every day. And I was like, all right, I'll do this. I'll give it a rip. So we'll see what happens. I don't think we're gonna have a crazy pool like that. You know, it would be cool, but bodybuilding is a lot less niche than what we do. I mean, we train athletes. We like to be freak athletes. I wish that was more normal. We don't take steroids, so I think that probably would help us, maybe help our business model if Isaiah and I were on steroids. But obviously we're not gonna do that. Hopefully you guys can hear me. I had to plug, so my camera's dying, so I had to plug my laptop into my camera so that my laptop is charging my camera because my car wouldn't do it, unfortunately. But that's okay. So yeah, yesterday, you know, we all jumped. You guys heard about that. Today, we're going to the gym. Bad news, Isaiah woke up and he had a bit of knee pain, actually. So it was kind of unfortunate, but he, I guess, like, I don't know what it exactly happened. I know he woke up this morning, he said his leg was super stiff. This is like the first time this has ever happened, and he couldn't put like a lot of weight on it. And I was kind of like, that's weird. That usually doesn't happen unless you have like, you know, a cartilage thing or maybe ACL, PCL. It felt really deep in his leg. And I've worked with a couple athletes where this happened. It's happened to me before, and it was during 2020. If you guys remember when Isaiah stayed with me in North Carolina, there was a period of time where my meniscus hurt, and I couldn't put weight on my leg, especially the outside of my leg, for a couple days, maybe in that range, and it hurt really bad when my leg was like locked out. So the meniscus is like a piece of cartilage that's between your tibia and your femur, and it's fibrocartilage. Fibrocartilage is the same cartilage that makes up your discs in your back, and it's really good at like shock absorbing. Isaiah yesterday, when he, I guess, had like his basketball session or whatever else, he did a weird jump at one point in game, and it's because these kids were pissing us off and they like were fouling the living hell out of Isaiah and Austin. I actually got really upset. I didn't include in the video yesterday, but like some kid started jawing with me and I got right in his face. I mean, we're both adults. He's probably 20, you know, I'm 30. It's not like you're a minor, but you know, I would never, someone was like, well, what if he would have swung on you? I was like, I wouldn't have done anything, dude. Like, I'm not dumb, you know? I'll talk shit on a court, but, you know, I'm not gonna, it'd be stupid for me to, whatever, you know, like hit someone or whatever else. Like, that's a charge. You get assault, like charged with assault. Even if you hit me, like, I could probably still be in the wrong. They might, you know, somehow finesse it. The legal system's weird, and it's not worth it. It's never worth it. So I was like, yeah, we're not getting into this. But they were pushing him like crazy. So it's possible, and like fouling the living shit out of him. So it's possible that during one of the drives or jumps, like he got knocked. There was a kid that tried to trip him at one point. Maybe I'll include it in this video as like B-roll for this part. But he literally like kicked his leg out to trip Isaiah. And I was like, what? I was watching back the footage yesterday, and they were just hacking the living hell out of him, reaching, pushing off. They were like smug frat boys. It was really frustrating. So yeah, that happened yesterday. Was, you know, obviously less than ideal for all of us. And for whatever reason, Isaiah's knee just got really pissed off. So today we're going to go to the gym. I'm going to have him move through pain-free range of motion during the lift for his knee. Probably we'll do either leg press or bottoms up squats. Like I said, you kind of want to like gloss the joint over. When it comes to cartilage, you always want to avoid pain. I think that's a big mistake a lot of people make, is they think like, oh, like tendons, or every knee injury is the same, you know, and obviously our, you know, that big brand out there that just gives a cookie cutter program. There's a lot of brands. There's one specifically that talks about bulletproofing, ATG. It's just not true. And it used to rub me the wrong way. Now I don't care. But just attacking the point of view of, not them, but attacking the point of view that one program will fit everyone is not true. However, I will say they have a lot of success with meniscus sometimes, because one of their big things is like, don't work through pain. And if you don't work through pain, then like I said, you're probably going to have your meniscus like respond or your cartilage respond in a positive light. Now for tendons and stuff, that won't work, but for cartilage, it can be really effective. So today we're going to go in, depending on how he feels, I may have him do very, very light bottoms up squats or leg press. I'm talking like, I don't know, maybe probably like 50 pounds on the bar. No, probably 50 kilos, sorry. 115 on the bar. Come up a little bit, then back down. He'll probably do that. Austin's hip, I told you guys this yesterday, but we kind of narrowed it down to that hip flexor, so I want him to work on some abduction and hip flexion for sure today. That'll be like a big focus of his session. Mine will, I don't know yet what I'm gonna do because my adductor's kind of acting up. So I'll probably do some form of a squat. I won't do cleans. I'll do heavy calf raises, RDLs, and maybe like some banded adduction or like quasi-iso or something just to load that tissue. I probably won't dunk until Saturday. And then after this week, I think all of us are probably gonna switch to a Monday, Wednesday, Friday setup. Right now we're on what I call load management setup. And it doesn't mean it's actually, I mean, it's always kind of load management, but in this specific scenario, it's where we jump twice a week. And if you're on THP, and this may be a good time to put the THP plug, you know, you are familiar kind of with the different types of training that we do. I'm not abiding to any like one periodization model, but I do like, there are a couple that I will default to because they tend to work pretty well for almost everyone initially, and then I can dial things in. But either of these work. I just like doing, for this specific scenario, I like doing, sorry, I'm trying to merge. It's really hard to merge in this car. For this type of loading, when I do a lot of eccentric work, I like to do load management when I'm doing plyos. One of the mistakes that I probably made this cycle with Isaiah was loading him too much. We were in and I was talking to him about this yesterday, even before we hooped or trained, but I put him in because he's neurally just very fatigued, very, very, very fatigued. You can tell his body language goes to shit. He gets these weird little twitches all over his body, like his eyelid was twitching yesterday, kind of have these weird injuries pop up, stuff like that, and that's a sign of fatigue. So when you do plyos are incredibly, incredibly fatiguing, like massively fatiguing, and a lot of people don't actually realize how fatiguing that they actually are. And so for me, you know, being a sports performance coach, or my friend RJ calls me like what do you call me? A sports performance scientist. And I was like, I like that. SPS for short. They don't realize how intense plyos are. So a lot of people just hammer athletes with plyos, and they don't understand that is massively, massively fatiguing. And if you're jumping, you're already doing plyos. You're already getting landing, you know, volume in there. So, because the mechanism of a plyometric is a stretch shortening cycle. Anytime you jump, run, or cut, you're gonna have a stretch shortening cycle happen. So if you're adding plyos additionally on top of that, all you're doing is adding more stretch shortening cycles. And that's never a good idea. You know, you can, well, not never a good idea, but you're doubling down. So we were going to take the jumping out completely. But Isaiah was like, oh, I want to dunk, whatever, I want to play. And I'm like, oh, you might be able to play. Like, it doesn't line kind of with that. We have it all on the same day. It's not like we're doing it on separate days. You know, we're already checking that box. And that wasn't really the issue. The issue was that, oh man, I hope I don't get in trouble for this. The issue was that he was doing that along with doing a lot of eccentric work. So the eccentric work is like those negatives that he was doing. And if you watch the video of him the other day, you probably saw that he was, you know, doing these slow kind of lowers. And we have super maximal load. That is one of the most intense stimuli that you can possibly put on the neuromuscular system and also the musculotendinous unit. So we did that, and then he had an off day or whatever. He had off 2 days, but it wasn't enough time for him to recover. Believe it or not, 2 days was not nearly enough time. This stimulus is so intense that it's possible he could be fatigued for weeks after doing it. And there's some other coaches I was talking to where we discussed this, and that was the plan. I mean, we knew that was going to happen, but I guess I didn't expect this much fatigue to be built into his body, which, like I said yesterday, fatigue is not always bad. That's how you adapt. I was talking to Dom Gonzalez today, and he was like, oh, my knee hurts. You know, what should I do? And I was like, oh, just give yourself another day of rest instead of loading every other day, because your cells produce, we were talking about his cartilage. I was like, your cells produce collagen matrix, depending if it's cartilage or it's tendon, and those cells can be stimulated, you know, it doesn't take much for those cells to be stimulated. You do need to load it, but it's not like crazy amounts. And if you're feeling like a level of pain or discomfort or something the next day, or it's a sign that you probably need more time for that tissue to do its thing and continue to adapt and recover. So it's a delicate balance of loading tissue and unloading tissue. Anyways, with Isaiah, I think what happened is he loaded all that eccentric work. He did the plyos yesterday. He got pushed around, and then he did something in the evening. I don't know what, but all of it paired together kind of just pissed his knee off. And so today we're probably not going to we're probably going to scratch that, and next week we'll switch it back to that Monday, Wednesday, Friday setup. He'll probably jump on Fridays. That'll be the plan. For me, I used to be able to jump twice a week, but I can only do it for like 2 to 3 weeks before I really start to kind of see big decrements, which has happened in the past. I usually get through about 2 to 3 weeks of it, and then I fall off hard. And that's kind of what happened here. I tend to see like little muscle injuries pop up and stuff like that, just because when you're jumping 40 inches off 1 foot, like legitimately 40 inches, you're applying massive forces. You're going to be at risk of injury, especially as you get older. You know, it's like getting better. Like when you've gotten to a super high level, right? Like I'm talking freaky high level to the point where my head was at the rim, whatever. That performance is like an outlier day. And we're trying to essentially get back to that all the time. We're trying to get back to that or higher. So you want to see your consistency go up and those days become more normal. That's like the first step to getting better. And then when your previous outliers become your new average, that's whenever you actually get better. Now you have new outliers, and your new outliers are even better. So for Isaiah, like his average is like whatever, nose or eyes at the rim. For me, you know, it's probably my head 4 to 6 inches from a 10-foot rim. On my best days, I'll get my head to the rim. My goal is to make my bad days better, my average days better, and my best days better. And try to get the performance cluster to move up. Dan Paff would talk about it all the time. So for me right now, I'm not seeing that happen because I'm having any little like thing I feel related to like my hamstring or adductor or whatever else, if it's like a tweak, that'll stop me, my knee, that'll stop me from getting to 43, 44 inch vertical. Now I can jump for, 38 all day or 37 or 39 all day. That's pretty good for most people. But when I'm trying to get those freaky performances, I want to get to that 43, and that's where like the tires have to be perfectly fitted. You have to have the brand new grip on or brand new tires, perfect grip, perfect tires with perfect conditions. You gotta have your engine tuned. You gotta have the right fuel in it. The engine's gotta be warm. Like you don't just see those. I don't want to call it world record performances because it's not. But for you, your individual world record performance, your individual ability at that super high level, unless you are feeling like truly 100%. So that all said, you know, that's the plan for the guys. That's the plan for me. I'll go in today. Hopefully, the last couple times I've tried to film actually me doing something, something's gone wrong, or there was a change of plans or whatever else. Today, I will get those top sets in. You guys will see it. I'll film my top sets. Maybe I'll film Isaiah's like top sets of something if he does it impressively. And then on the way back, I'll drive with one of the guys and we can go over how the session went and everything like that. Maybe I'll have Isaiah talk a little bit when he gets in the car here on the way to the gym, but I'm on the way to Austin's now, gonna pick up the guys, and then we're gonna go probably straight over to the gym, but we'll see. So I'll talk to you guys in like, when I get to Isaiah's, maybe, or at the gym, we'll see.
Yeah.
Mic check, mic check. Speaking to your mic.
You're live. Mic check, mic check. Hello, hello,
Go into your mic. All right, we're good.
We're live, baby.
Alrighty. So I told them about you almost getting tripped and stuff yesterday and how your knees messed up. Let's just blame it on the frat boys. That's what I'm thinking.
Alright. That's why you should not play basketball if you're trying to increase your vertical.
So basically today, I talked to you guys about this earlier, but we are going to the gym. Isaiah, tell them how your knee feels.
My knee feels horrible. The diagnosis is a torn meniscus.
Torn, let's say frayed.
Frayed. It's a frayed meniscus.
We don't know if it's torn.
We don't believe in surgery at THP.
There is a lot of truth to that statement, actually.
We think a lot of guys get surgery way too prematurely without ever trying rehab that actually works. So I'm not gonna get surgery for it. I bet
you it goes away in a week.
Yeah, I think so too. I have a history of meniscus issues in that leg. It started when I planted straight-legged, also while playing basketball. And then I just tweaked it playing basketball again yesterday. So a wrench has been thrown into the plans. I was jumping really freaking high, but I'm not too sad because this is just an opportunity to learn more. I'll be able to help guys with meniscus injuries now. And then secondly, the rest of my body's gonna feel freaking great. So
nice.
Yeah.
I'm actually in the shot right now because I can't see it all. Wow,
yeah,
nice.
we're both in there.
That's beautiful. We'll stabilize this later. It'll look good. So yeah, we'll film the top sets. Like I said, I want you. I mean, you definitely can't push on RDLs. You could probably do lying.
Well, I could do bent leg. Like
what are you talking about?
I was thinking about this yesterday. If I'm not straight-legged on the RDL.
Oh, like a soft bend.
Yeah.
That could work.
I'll try it. I'll try it light and see if
I definitely wouldn't do hip thrust. I think that.
So why should I not do hip thrust?
Remember that thing you told me that you did yesterday, where you were in a bent knee position?
Oh no, that was full flexion. Like 90-degree flexion doesn't work. Anything that's full compression, like my thigh, like when I'm wrapping effect. When I have the wrapping effect.
So you're saying if you have slight open knee.
Yeah, it's not gonna bother me.
Okay. Well, let's try that. We can try that. We'll see how it goes.
And then very light squats.
Light bottoms up, I think. Don't go to full range.
Are you putting the lift in this video? Are we gonna try it out?
We'll have the top
sets.
There, yeah.
Sick.
So you'll be able
I'm so excited.
You'll be able to talk about it during it.
And then after we can talk about how the lift went.
Yeah, how it went basically. So
this is freaking awesome. Like the video. Like the damn video.
Oh, actually, this is good. I mentioned this before when I was talking about the pricing.
Yeah.
Just be transparent with the viewers. So I wanted the cost to be like affordable. It is affordable right now.
The cost of our
service,
coaching.
yeah. So I think it's gonna get to a point where when people start to realize what it is for the price, and that it's going back up. That
THP, I don't know if you guys know this. We didn't pull this number out of our ass. It was $700 a month up until one point. If you were a student, it was $400 a month. That was the discount.
Put your face in there a little bit more. Right there.
So it was a very expensive high ticket service. What are you trying to do?
I'm trying to bend this so I can see it, but I realize it doesn't bend that way. So
yeah, you're good.
I just want your face in it. Okay,
my face is in it. My face is in it. But yeah, it was a very, very expensive high ticket service. The reason we made it that price is because we just weren't able to handle that many athletes. We had a ton of athletes at one point.
At that quality, I would say.
Yeah, it was really hard to deliver the service with everybody. It's perfect, John. Let
me do my thing, bro. Let me do my thing.
So we basically we got the system to the point where we can handle more athletes. We hired a lot of help, and we have learned a lot about the delivery of the service over the last 4 years that we've been doing this.
Right.
And we wanted to make it accessible for guys like me and John when we were in high school. I wanted it to be a service that I could have done. So that's why we put it at $99 a month, which is still, it's more expensive than any jump program out there. But for what you get way more than any jump program out there. And $99 a month isn't a lot if you can get a job.
The way that I see it is like you're paying for something that works versus paying for something that doesn't work. Like, that's kind of the way that I view it.
Yeah.
And some people will say like, oh, that's cocky or whatever else. And like, I'm okay with that. I think like, the service works, dude. I mean, if you stay on the service, and that's the other thing too, is like, it's hard to be long-term committed when it was that expensive. So I think, well, what I think will happen, what I anticipate based on the conversations we've all had, the service will stay here for like a month at this cost. Demand's going to go up because, again, people are going to find out about it and be like, oh shit, this is a great service.
At the rate that we're going.
And then it's going to get expensive because we're not going to be able to handle it again. So I would think a month or two. I don't know how long, actually. What do you think? You have no idea.
I have no idea, yeah.
But I would just say,
we're going to reach a point where prices will have to start going back up.
Yeah.
That could be a month from now. It could be 3 months from now. But if you want to get on THP, and if price is ever an issue, right now is the time to do it.
Are we making it right
here? Yeah, make it right here. Right now is the time to do it, because prices are going to go up.
Yeah.
So.
Anyways, so that was something else. I mentioned that the other day, but Isaiah wasn't here for it. Now he is. So, dude, your face isn't in it. Don't tell me that it's fine when your face isn't in it. It's because
you turned it. You turned it.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't. This thing keeps unlocking because I can't twist it any further. Dude, look at that dog. You see that dog? It's so ugly. As far as training, I don't really have anything else to add. I mean, we'll have more feedback after we get back from the gym. Do you have anything else you want to add?
Nope. I think that's pretty much it. I guess we'll do the lift, and then we usually have a lot of things to talk about after.
We just leave it. We'll just leave it rolling for the rest of the drive.
Just in case we talk about shit.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe. Who knows? I don't know. What were you going to talk about after this? It's a real question. Oh, you know what we do need to talk about that I'm actually... Oh, look at this dog. It's so cute. That's hilarious. We got to talk about the thing you talked about yesterday we can't put on film. So, see you guys. So, Zay actually feels pretty good. I'm sure he'll talk about it. I am doing this last set. We're just basically going to do feel-good lifting. So I like to load my Monday sessions, which is the lift. But since I dunked yesterday, everything's moved back today. I didn't really dunk, but I'm feeling this in my adductor a little bit, which is good. So back squats do work adductor. And this is my last set, this is my top set. I just built up to this. I think we're at, I don't even know, what is this, 205 or something like that? Is this 205, Zay? Roughly? 195. 195? Okay. So I'll do a set of 6. I have pretty bad hip mobility, so you guys will see that. But let's see what range of motion we can get. Not bad. Other thing is, I actually don't see anything wrong with coming up on the toes, especially if you have tight ankles. Like, the goal is to load your leg. So that's what we're doing. Whoa. Oh, nice. Okay. So really trying to keep it slow. During that, feel the knees a little bit, but not crazy. I mean, a lot of the time you guys ask this too, like, oh, what if I feel my knees during squats? Like, it's very likely you're gonna feel your knees during squats sometimes. That's not even a bad thing. It matters more about how they feel the next day and when you're fully warm jumping. I haven't been doing squats like crazy, but my plan is basically to back off my quad dominant lifts, push up my calf raises, push hip thrusts up, maybe clean pulls and stuff, but we'll see. RDLs, basically all the posterior chain work I can work. and then let my quads stay fresh for the next little bit so I can jump well. Just as they get so fatigued during jumping.
All right, I'm doing my last set. Completely went off the plan, off the rails. We're doing squat singles right now. I was able to go heavy because my meniscus was only bothering me at the very top range of the motion. So I'm just not locking out my legs basically. And yeah, still trying to get some heavy loading. Obviously not gonna be able to do plyo, so figured I could go hard with squats since they're completely pain-free. Let's see how this how this set goes. For Austin. That was harder than expected, but pain-free. Also, I hit that rack hard as shit. My spine was like...
hit the rack hard as... No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, it's not recording?
No, it is. Just push the button when you're done.
Oh, okay.
You didn't rap with me. Why did you rap with me?
I'll see you guys in the car or on the next lift.
All right, sometimes getting this camera set up is very difficult. Whew, I'm sweating my butt off. That was hard. I gotta clean this lens. Whew, that looks better. We'll tighten this down like that, and that will be good enough for now, I hope. Come on now. Whew, it's hot. It's humid today. Sweating my butt off in this car. All right, so we just finished the lift. Isaiah did way more than I thought. I expected him to be very, I would say, cautious, very cautious with the lift, and he really wasn't, which is fine. I think for what he felt, I was okay with it. Like, he basically did 4 to 5 sets of squats and actually worked up to a single of 405, which is good. Oh, that guy's about to curb it. And after that, kind of took it easy on, actually I lied. He went super heavy on everything, on RDLs, calf raises. Trying to think of what else he did. Obviously no power work. Didn't do any abduction, but he loaded RDLs and squats really heavy. So got pulling in and got some form of squatting in heavy. Usually he can't do that because of his knee, which is a really good sign, or his back, sorry, which is a really good sign, because we're going to be able to load pretty heavily even though his right knee is kind of bothering him. Again, really good for us because he'll be able to maintain a lot of performance. And this is actually a good lesson to a lot of people that are watching this. You should still train if you have an injury. I think one of the biggest mistakes I see when it comes to injuries is guys will just stop training completely. They'll do nothing. And that's not the best way to go about it. That's part of the reason why I think coaching is so important, because you need direction sometimes when it comes to that stuff. Especially if you're an athlete. Like if you're just a bodybuilder, bro, you don't really need to do any of that stuff. Like, it's easy. As bad as it sounds, it's easy. So for Isaiah, we loaded as much as we could without causing any more discomfort. And you might be like saying, well, if he has a meniscus injury, why would you squat 405? Because the meniscus is, most of the recommendations you're gonna get are from people being hyper cautious a lot of the time. So Isaiah warmed up, did dynamic flexibility, some easy isos, and he felt a lot better. Walked around, squatted 115. I just planned for him to stay there, and he's like, I feel fine, I wanna go heavy. And I was like, all right, if you wanna go heavy, you can go heavy. So he built up to that 405, totally fine. We stayed out of any position where he felt pain. So pretty much we didn't do anything with his leg completely straight. We just left it all semi-bent or bent knee, even backing the weight out of the rack. He didn't even have his knee straight. If you watch the video, you'll see that. He had a bent knee backing out of the rack, and even while he was squatting, had a bent knee. Even when he was squatting, he never came up to the top, right? He just came up to that kind of quarter squat position and re-racked it. That way he's able to unload it. Same thing for RDLs, right? We didn't do stiff leg deadlifts. We had a soft bend in the knee. What happens when you do that is the meniscus is gonna offload a little bit, because the meniscus is that cartilage between the tibia and the femur, and it deals with mostly compressive forces. It's like a padding, right? Similar to what your discs do for compressive forces. But obviously the disc isn't good at handling twisting, the meniscus, the fibrocartilage, isn't good at handling like a lot of twisting or kind of like pinching type of forces, bending type of forces. Pulling, it doesn't really apply to that tissue. So, you know, obviously, like, unless you're in space or some centrifugal force where your leg's being pulled out, but which case that's probably not good either. So yeah, it deals with a lot of those compressive forces. We were able to load it inside of a range where he's able to get fluid moving in the joint. There's something called synovial fluid that has inflammatory markers in it that potentially is responsible for the recovery mechanism, a potential mechanism for recovery. It's more complex than that. I'm not a biochemist, but loading it will help the cells reproduce the collagen matrix. So that's what we try to do, but very lightly. And the key is finding those timelines for recovery where that tissue is able to continue to repair itself, because we're bioplastic, meaning we can basically adapt until we die. We can recover until we die. We can see, like I said, positive adaptation until we die in cells. I don't know why there's so much traffic on the other side of the road. Students are back. It was really annoying. It was really hard to find what we wanted. I wanted to do some abduction, and I wasn't able to do that. I did load the adduction. So I remember I was saying how, you know, my adductor kind of bothered me the other day, and I wasn't able to really do much in the way of adduction. So, I didn't load it last week, but this week I was able to, or today specifically, I was able to get some work in for it. Muscles, again, they like load. They want to be loaded for recovery. That's how you actually get them to adapt. When you train, you're basically putting tension into the muscle. Sometimes you're tearing the tissue, sometimes you're not. But those muscle cells, again, the myosin and actin, they're crawling past each other, and you're able to potentially damage those myosin heads or the actin filament, or, you know, tropomyosin, all these other proteins that build up the muscle, and then it rebuilds stronger and better. And that's really what we're trying to do when we do the loading. The RDLs, I was trying not to get this ripping sensation in my back. I did notice side planks seem to help quite a bit, because I was doing the Copenhagen planks before, and for whatever reason that just kind of, I don't know if it like warmed it up or if it I'm not really sure what it exactly did, but it allowed my scapula to mobilize itself enough where I felt super strong in the pulling position, which is really good. So I might start doing those before I do heavy RDLs. But yeah, the session went really well overall. We'll kind of see how guys pull up from this. Tomorrow is, this is Tuesday right now. Tomorrow's Wednesday. I plan on doing a general day with the guys. I don't know if we'll do it together or not. I would like to get into doing more of the med ball circuits, the general strength circuits, things like that of that nature. I think it's really valuable, and we've been kind of getting away from it for a little while, and I think that that is like the icing on top, honestly. You know, I think a lot of people think that like it's like the reverse, like that stuff's the core stuff and the plows and stuff is the icing. But in a lot of ways, I actually think that the icing on top is the general work. I think the general work really primes kind of the body and helps it stay healthy. And I know I've personally gotten a little bit lazy with it recently, because I was doing upper and I was kind of like, oh, well, you know, sometimes this stuff makes me sore, and maybe got away from it a little bit, but I want to try to fix that in the future. There's some loud rattling in the back of my car. This is so annoying when I'm trying to do these videos. So yeah, that's pretty much what's going on.
I don't really have much else for you guys. Like I said, as always, if you're interested in coaching, go to THPStrength.com, sign up. You know, it's what we do. It's like what I do for myself and Isaiah and Austin, I do for my athletes. Always try to dial things in and guide people appropriately. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.